Hello. Hey guys, how are you? Hi. We're just waiting for, I'm going to wait probably like 2 minutes. We'll wait for people to join and then we'll get started. Hail Eva. Oh, do you see her? Oh, she's right there. She's sleeping. Oh, that's not her. That's my sweater. She's right there. She's sleeping. Let me see if I can get her. Hold on. I'll get Eva while we're waiting. She's almost the size of a Mancoon, I realized. Oh, here's the big kitty. Ah! Eva, say hi. Oh, say hi. Oh, Eva, come here. She's okay. Nope, not gonna happen. 15-pounder. Yeah, my cat weighs 15 pounds. She weighs 15 pounds. Hi, kitty. Yes, hi, kitty. All right, I'm gonna wait just a few more minutes again, and then we'll get started. We'll wait for everyone to flood in. How is everyone's Wednesday night? Okay, I know West Hollywood. That's a lot of kitty litter cleaning. Well, you know what's funny? I've been staying in the country for a while. I normally live in LA. I've been staying in Virginia for a while, and my cat actually, she goes outside so much throughout the day that she actually doesn't go in the litter box very much. She goes outside now. Hello from ATL. Hello, ATL. That's actually where I'm from, is Atlanta, or the suburbs of Atlanta, Gwinnett County. I'm from Gwinnett County. On neighbor's lawn. No, she goes in the flower bed, which is actually pretty good. That means the flowers might have really good fertilizer when they decide to grow again in the spring. So that's not too bad. Hello for everyone that just joined. We're just waiting 1 more minute and then I'll get started on everything. Just 1 more minute and then I'll get started. We're seeing if anyone else is coming in to join. Go San Jose, California. Dropping almond rokas for the gardeners. Exactly. Exactly. All right, I'll go ahead and get started now. Okay, so the way this is going to go, I'm going to talk about this this IRS $600 thing. I'll talk about that at the very beginning. How did I title this? Let me see how I need to, hold on 1 second. How did I title this? That's the direction I need to go in. Okay, we're going to talk about how the IRS is watching your transactions, and I'm going to give you the truth about that because I've actually seen a lot of misinformation about this from conservative commentators, and it really bothers me. So we're going to talk about this IRS thing. Hillary versus Trump, we're going to have a little bit of fun with that and read an op-ed. Talk about the CNN ratings and other things that are going on today. So let's start out with this $600 thing. Okay, so when we first started hearing about this, the IRS is going to be looking into your bank account and they're going to be taking notes of every transaction over $600 or $600 and over. That's when we first started hearing about this, and we're all like, what the F? why are they looking at my transactions over $600? Basically, that's every rent payment, that's every mortgage payment, that's every paycheck. Why do they need to know that? Well, I guess this was debated in the Senate, and now this is coming to fruition, but it's not how people think that it's going to be. So the new thing now, or I don't even know if this is a new thing, but this is how it is going in practice. 599-90 or .99, yes. But let me just, this is not something that you need to worry about, and that is my opinion, and I am sticking to it. This is not something that anyone should be concerned about, anyone should be freaking out about or worried about. I'm going to tell you what this actually is in practice. So when this was in talks, I don't know how it was going. Maybe they actually were talking about looking at bank transactions over or 600 or over, but let me tell you how this is going in practice. And what really pisses me off, what really made me mad today, you're going to see me get a little pissy. What really made me mad today is I watched a conservative commentator make a 15-minute video about this, and he didn't give the most important point about all this, which he should have done. And it really pissed me off because I feel like right now, with everything going on in the world, we have enough to worry about. Do not fearmonger about things that people need to not be worried about. And this is something that you should not be worried about. Let me tell you what it is. So what this is this is the IRS looking at business transactions in Venmo, Zelle, like Cash App, and PayPal. Business transactions over $600, not personal transactions. And if you're very familiar with PayPal, you know there's two types of transactions you can make. You can make a personal transaction and you can make a business transaction. They are looking at business transactions. That's not a rent payment. That's not I owe you for dinner. That's not a personal gift. That is none of that. These are business transactions, and this is nothing new. If you are a business and you make over $600 a year, you have to report that to the IRS. I know this because I am an actress, and when I started acting, I would get little tiny jobs here and there. Maybe one paid $100, maybe one paid $200, maybe one paid $50. I started in Denver. That's what they paid. And I wouldn't have to pay taxes on any of that income unless I made over $600 in a year. In that case, if I did make over $600 in a year, my agent would send me a 1099 and then I would pay taxes on that $600. This is the same exact thing. This is nothing new. And this is not, these are not personal transactions. These are just business transactions where you have a business account. That's it. This is nothing new. And what really upset me was that this is a very high-profile conservative commentator that made a 15-minute video on this, yet didn't make that point. He was fear-mongering, and he was saying, the IRS wants to look at all your transactions, and they want to tax the little people, and they want to take all your money, and they want to do this, and this is how they're doing it. They're looking at everything. And while maybe that's true in some senses, maybe they want all your money, maybe that blah, 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 but he didn't make this point, and that really bothered me, because that's really dishonest, and that's fear-mongering, and it's not true. And I've had a lot of experience with PayPal. I had regular acting work for all 2019 where I was paid on PayPal, and I got 1099 on PayPal by my production company because I made well over $600 getting paid on PayPal. This is nothing new. And if you're a business, you should be reporting that anyway. So this is absolutely nothing new. This is not the IRS looking into your personal affairs. So I just want to make that distinction so that people don't get stressed out about something that they don't need to be stressed out about. Okay, that's it. It bothers me when people use this stuff and they try to get a clickable headline and they try to fearmonger about it. This is absolutely nothing new. And I also know this because one of my very first landlords, I paid her via PayPal. And I had two options when I paid her every month for my rent. I could pay her a personal, one person to another person, or I could do a business payment. So there are those options. That's the distinction. If you are a business, you need to report if you make over $600, which is exactly what I've always had to do as an actress, whether I was paid via PayPal, check, or whatever. So this is nothing new. This is a way for them, and I don't see a problem with this, because if you're a business, you should be honest with what you're earning anyway. So this is a way for them to try to avoid tax evasion. So I'm not mad at it in any way. I don't think it's a terrible thing. If they're looking into, the way that this was first framed to us, it was, the IRS is trying to look into your bank account. I thought that was super creepy. Yes, if they're looking into your personal bank account and they want to know every time you deposit $600 or take $600 out, that's super creepy. I use cash when I can too. Yeah. No, I assume the same thing. Somebody just said, I assume they're looking at every large transaction anyway. I kind of assume the same thing, which is also why I use cash when I can as well. But I just, I saw a 15-minute video from somebody that I really respected, and I just felt like it was really misleading, and it was creating a lot of anger and fear where there didn't need to be anger and fear. Because this is something that you did anyway. And then another thing is, I made a funny little video about this, but another thing that the person injected into the video, and yeah, now they're even asking if you steal things, you have to report on that. That's actually, I made a funny video about this. By the way, it was like a 20-second video. I think it's on my TikTok. But this has always been a part of the IRS where it does sound ridiculous and funny, where they're like, we also need you to report on stolen merchandise. So if you stole something that's worth a decent amount of money, we need to know about that. And the person even injected that into the video. But guys, this has actually always been a part of the IRS. Some things just come to public when they do, and we think this is something new, and we think it's crazy. And we're like, whoa, what is the IRS doing? What are they doing? Oh my gosh, this is crazy. The world is ending. That's always been there. Anywho, that's enough about that. I just wanted to say that because even people in my family saw this $600 thing, and it really bothered them, which is understandable. Because if they were looking into your personal accounts, that would be a little bothersome, worrisome. But no, they're just looking at these cash apps that have business transactions that are over $600 a year, which again is absolutely nothing new. This has always been the case. It's always been the rule. Anyhow, that's all I have to say about that. Now let's make fun of Hillary. How about that? Report all of your stolen goods or else you get wrecked. Yes. If you don't report your stolen goods, and by the way, you guys, if you get like a cash gift, you don't have to report that as long as it's a personal thing. It's just if you are registered as a business and you are doing a business transaction, that's when the IRS is paying attention. That's when they're looking at it. That's what they want you to report. That's it. So don't freak out. I couldn't believe that. No, this was actually, I'm not going to say who it was, but this was someone that has a lot of followers. I was really disappointed in this video. I was really disappointed in it. I don't like, and people on both sides do this, you guys, and I will always try to be so honest, and it might mean that I don't get as many clicks, or I don't get as many people that are like, yeah. But I will always be honest. I don't like it when people just tell you one little side of something, and they don't tell you the whole story. I don't like that. Especially now when everyone is so stressed out, and there's so much to worry about, and there's so much to plan for. You don't need to worry about things that are not necessary to worry about. Canada taxing unvaxxed and forcing. I saw something about we can actually if you guys want to, when I'm finished, we can look into this Ronald McDonald story. I believe that's out of Canada. Has anyone heard about this? I don't know a whole lot about it. I just saw the headlines today, but there is a child, I believe a 4-year-old with leukemia, who is being threatened to be kicked out of a Ronald McDonald house in Canada because he's unvaxxed. So if you want to, when we're finished, we can maybe look that story up and look into it a little bit more together. But I sort of saw the headlines right before I went live, which is wild to me. Wild. Like, this kid is 4 years old. Whatever. I don't understand this. This is a weird, freaky control thing. This has nothing to do with health at this point. And I think it's pretty obvious to most commonsensical Americans. With that being said, let's have a laugh, shall we? One of my favorite opinion writers on the New York Post is Maureen Callahan. I don't know who this hero is, but she makes me laugh. Is this an opinion piece? Yes, it is an opinion piece. Okay, Canadians are shockingly eager to have the boot in their neck sad. Well, Canadians are just known for being super polite. They're like, sorry, I'm sorry. They're just known for being so chill and so polite, which I think is an incredible quality, but you could clearly see in times like this how that could kind of bite you in the rear. Yes, please hit the like button, help my algorithm if you are here on the live stream. All right, so let's go into this opinion piece by Maureen Callahan. This is Hillary Clinton versus Donald Trump in 2024. Yep, life has become a horror movie. I'm actually thinking more and more that Hillary might be running in 2024. I'm just saying. Ahem. We are officially in the horror movie. By the way, have you seen that there's a new Scream coming out? Do you guys like the Scream movies? There is a new Scream coming out in the movie theaters. I have not wanted to see a movie in a movie theater in a very, very long time, but I think I want to see the new Scream. Running for the border, LOL. Oh, okay, after this, I want to read a critique on Kamala Harris, because that's actually really funny, about how she's just terrible for women. We talked about this a little bit yesterday. Yes, I want to see the new Scream. Yay! I have someone that agrees. I want to see this in the theater. I want to get nachos and like a giant soda. Maybe a beer, because, theaters serve beer now. That would be really fun. I want to see this movie in the theater. Scream is aight, but Michael Myers and Jason are my ninjas, okay? I can respect that. I respect it. What I liked about Scream, I love a good dark comedy and I love a good horror comedy. And I don't know how the new Scream is going to be, but the original Scream movie, it was, to me, like kind of it was scary, but it was also a parody of a horror movie, which I really appreciated. Thank you. So someone just said, I have always seen the Scream movies, but I always laugh and not scream. Well, that's what I like about them, because they're kind of funny, and to me, they're a little bit scary too. All right, so let's read this opinion piece really quick, because I think it might be funny. We are officially in the horror where the monster never dies, the virus never ends, and our next election sees Hillary Clinton versus Donald Trump. Yes, the two most polarizing presidential nominees of modern times refuse to go away. Clinton and Trump are more alike than they realize. Namely, they each live in a reality of their own making. Trump continues to insist that 2020 election was stolen. Hillary believes that she won in 2016. What I was doing was working, she told New York Magazine in 2017. Of Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump, she said, I beat both of them. Back then, I called Hillary the Norma Desmond of American politics. ever ready for her close-up, white-knuckling her grip on a scene that long ago rejected her. As she refused to rule out 2020, party leaders were vocal about moving on. Joe Biden, I never thought she was a great candidate. Even Joe Biden said that, guys. Chuck Schumer, when you lose to someone who has 40% popularity, you don't blame other things. You blame yourself. That's what Chuck Schumer said. Biden's been hovering at the 40% mark for a while now. Kamala is an unmitigated disaster. The COVID fumbling, a foreign policy dominated by the botched Afghanistan withdrawal, soaring inflation. Well, who else do the Dems have lined up? Beto? AOC? Mayor Pete? It's a disgrace that neither party properly grooms its talent nor welcomes generational change. A coven of power-crazed baby boomers have strangleheld our national politics. It is now we got Biden, marketed to us as safe and sane rather than inside the beltway hack of donning grandpa he is. Truly, the Dems couldn't have set a better stage for the reemergence of Donald Trump. The minute he lost, we all knew he'd run again. His ego would not allow defeat, neither will Hillary's. In December, as a part of her masterclass episode, not to ask the obvious, but shouldn't one be a master in their class to teach of these? Hillary delivered her victory speech she'd written for election night in 2016. It's kind of humiliating growth exercise you might spy through the keyhole of a therapist's office, said the formerly slavish New York Times. It feels as if she's being held hostage by the past, compelled to relive her defeat again and again. What else should we expect? In the wake of her loss, Clinton asked us to feel sorry for her rather than the other way around. Here was a candidate handed the nomination by her party, which flushed out her most serious primary contender, Bernie Sanders, behind the scenes. If she couldn't beat a former reality star, that assist, plus the $150 million war chest, the backing of Beyonce and Bruce and Oprah, the media industrial complex, not just firmly behind her, but rabidly anti-Trump, what makes anyone anywhere convinced that she could pull it off in 2024? Trump's run is a given. So is Hillary's inevitable loss. The good news, as we are learning, even the most stubborn mutations weaken over time. That was an Omicron reference, if you didn't get that. I really like Maureen at the New York Post. I really do. I really, really do. But they have teed up Hillary Clinton perfectly to run. Hillary paid for the Russia collusion investigation. Yeah, they have teed up perfectly for Hillary Clinton to run in 2024. Who else do they have? They do not have anyone else. I think they were hoping it might have been Kamala Harris. They know that they know that Biden's not going to run again. How old he would be? 80? There's no way. Al Gore, probably. Here's a little piece that was written by Ayan Hirsi Ali about Kamala Harris. This is how deeply unpopular Kamala Harris is, and what a disaster to women Kamala Harris is. And I say this with, I know I joke and I play about Kamala Harris, but I really do think she's a disaster for women. and the women's movement, feminist. For many women around the world, this is Ayan Hirsi Ali. For many women around the world, a similar deeply ingrained misogyny remains a part of everyday life. Yet there are also countless examples of women who prove this persistent myth to be wrong. Today, especially in the West, there are women who do and excel at all the things they dreamed of as a child and much more. Remember, Ayan Hirsi Ali grew up in an oppressed Muslim society. Nevertheless, there is now a ridiculous campaign in America which is fast spreading in other countries that seeks to fast track the closing of inequality gap and eliminate all prejudice against women in one fall sweep. The result is a caricaturing of a very complex situation and is the thing to develop animation characters for Disney that feature girls and women as superheroes or to swap a woman for James Bond. But it is quite another to place a woman in a high-profile position when they are clearly unqualified for that job. As we are starting to discover, doing so only affirms prejudice. So she's arguing that putting Kamala Harris in this job just because she marks two checkboxes is actually taking women backwards, because if you are a misogynist, if you're looking at Kamala Harris in this job, you're thinking to yourself, see, women aren't qualified. She goes on to say, enter Kamala Harris. When Joe Biden was searching for a running mate, it seems he had just two requirements, black and female. The Democratic Party agreed, pressuring Biden to select a diverse candidate for vice president. At one point, he boasted of having to choose between 4 black women. Biden plucked out Harris from his narrow search field, and what did he get? A vice president who is unhelpful in advancing his agenda and unable to connect with the American people. This week marked the second time Biden slipped up and referred to his deputy as President Harris, but don't be fooled, his mistake says more about his own level of competence than Harris's. As we approach the 1-year mark of Biden's presidency, it is obvious that Harris was set up from failure from the start. She had neither the experience nor the demeanor to be a successful vice president. Biden's approval ratings may have slumped, but they are nothing compared to his VP's. Her failure is so embarrassing that even traditional allies are starting to flee. CNN, which traditionally fawns over black female Democrats, published a blistering hit on her late last year, painting her office as dysfunctional. A former employee described her management style as having destructive patterns. Since her disastrous trip to the southern border last June, at least 7 of her close aides have resigned. While I have never been a fan of Kamala Harris, it does sadden me to see her fail so miserably. I had hoped for the first female vice president to prove a success. After all, her failures affect more than just the White House and the Democratic Party. They affect women everywhere. On one level, Harris's failures affirm the beliefs of misogynists who incorrectly believe that women are not capable of holding such weighty positions. It provides fodder to those men like my uncles and cousins validating their prejudice against women. Remember, she is from an oppressive Muslim society. More depressing, however, is the impact it could have on women. It's not too difficult to see how Harris becoming the target of ridicule could dissuade young girls from taking such positions in the future. For them, seeing a woman finally make it in this position and getting the ridicule that she does could possibly deter them. I actually agree with a lot of this. It doesn't sadden me that Kamala fails. It makes Hallmark happy. No, it actually, I've never liked Kamala Harris. I think she is just one of the worst politicians I have ever seen. I don't think she is at all likable. I think she is a liar. I think she's a fraud. She just flip-flops in whatever direction she feels she needs to go in to help her political career. But you can imagine how someone, if you are a man from, an oppressed society and you view women a certain way and you see someone like Kamala Harris, you could see how they would be like, yeah, women suck. They shouldn't be in these positions. And that's what we were actually talking about this yesterday when Sarah Palin was criticizing AOC and Kamala Harris. So Sarah Palin was criticizing AOC and Kamala Harris, because both of them, when they respond to their criticism, they both bring up their sex. The first thing they do is they're saying this because I'm a woman. In AOC's case, she says, they're saying this because they just want to have sex with me. They're attracted to me. They want to date me. Kamala Harris says, they're just criticizing me because I am a minority and because I am a woman. Well, if you want equality, then you want to be held accountable for your actions, and you don't want to be looked at for the fact that you're a woman. No one is criticizing Kamala Harris because she's a woman. No one is criticizing Kamala Harris because she is a woman of a particular skin color or a particular ethnicity. They are criticizing Kamala Harris because of her job performance. The same with AOC. No one is criticizing AOC because she is a woman. No one is criticizing AOC because they think she is an attractive woman or they want to date AOC. They are criticizing AOC because of her hypocrisy. These are legitimate criticisms that they are receiving, and instead of taking accountability for their actions, they are deflecting to other things. Why? Because they don't want to take accountability for their actions. And to me, that is, you want to get on the whole thing of, I never thought I would sit here and agree with feminists, but here I am sitting here agreeing with feminists. If you want to be taken seriously in a position, my gender and my appearance is the least interesting thing about me. I know a lot of people say, I like your voice, or I don't like your voice, or I think you're pretty, or I think you're ugly, or I like this about you, I like that about you. Okay, that's fine that you say that, but that's the least interesting thing about me. So if you're criticizing me, the last thing I'm going to say is, you're doing that because I'm a female. No, I'm going to say you're doing that because maybe you have a valid criticism, or maybe I'm not making my point quite right, or maybe I am wrong about this one thing. And it really bothers me when women do that. They want to be treated equally, yet the minute they are treated equally, the minute they are criticized on their ideas, they go backwards and just go back to their gender and their appearance. And these are the same women that are like, women need to be treated equally. Women, you will never sit there and, I will in these contexts, but I think in a lot of ways it's women's fault. You will never sit there and say, women need to be treated fairly in the workplace. We need to be treated. You won't sit there and hear me say that. And I've never experienced that. Yes, people comment on my appearance or my voice or the way I dress or whatever. People comment on those things. But when people criticize me on my ideas, you will never see me revert back to my appearance. That's the least interesting thing about me. It bothers me. I'm bothered tonight. Wanted to be treated equally while using female privilege. Thank you, Braxton. That's exactly what I was trying to say. Thank you. You used those. You took the words that I was trying to use. Okay. Let's make fun of CNN. Lance said, Sarah, you should grab a beer. I'm getting stabby vibes from you. I will as soon as I'm done. Okay, this is really funny. Okay, so CNN's ratings. So CNN's ratings are plummeting even more, which is actually funny. If you've watched my TikTok channel, I've actually been sharing more CNN videos because I've actually been agreeing with them. Jake Tapper. Oh, holy cow. I just put this on my TikTok, but Jake Tapper, I'm like, what is going on? I think CNN has realized that I think CNN is realizing how bad they're doing, and they really need to change, excuse my language, they really need to change shit up. So Jake Tapper was, I can't remember who he was interviewing, but he was saying, so we've been talking about the fact that Biden has been going and campaigning on their voting rights bill. And what Jake Tapper made an excellent point. I couldn't believe it. So he was like, why is it that that some of the strictest voting laws are actually in blue states, yet you never hear any Democrat criticizing a blue state on their voting laws? You only see them criticizing red states. Why is that? And he goes, look at New Jersey. Look at this state. Look at this state. They have some of the strictest voting laws out of any state, yet you never see Democrats criticizing those states. And I love that he asked that question. That is a legitimate question, and there's no answer to that question. It doesn't make any sense. It also doesn't make any sense that they want you to have an ID to go to a restaurant, yet if you need an ID to vote, that is somehow a civil rights issue. But it's actually good that CNN is starting to call out the truth a little bit, because their ratings, scandal-ridden CNN sees ratings dive by 90% after 2021 coverage. So that could be why they are making a turn right now. CNN's ratings took a nosedive by a massive 90%, both overall and in the all-important demographic coveted by advertisers in the first week of the year. The Jeff Zucker-led cable news network averaged just 500,048 viewers during the first week of January 3rd, a major drop from the nearly 2.7 million viewers from the same week in 2021. 90% in 1 year. The year-ago ratings were jolted by the left-leaning network's coverage of the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol, which resulted in CNN having the most watched days since Ted Turner launched the news outlet in 1980. But on the one-year anniversary of the attacks, viewers flipped over to CNN's right-wing rival, Fox News, which topped the ratings for coverage of the event. It didn't work, you guys. It did not work. Their embarrassing show did not work. All the Democrats that were sitting on the steps of the Capitol, we talked about this, and I apologize for repeating myself, but they are full of crap, and most Americans know this. Kamala Harris painted it as the worst attack since Pearl Harbor and 9/11 and all these things. Okay, the Capitol was bombed in 1983 by a far leftist terrorist group. Also, the Kavanaugh trials, the Women's March, they all stormed the Capitol. So, the year-ago rating, oh yeah, I saw that. CNN has been plagued by a cascade of high-profile scandals, most notably the firing of its primetime star Chris Cuomo after the anchor was found to be secretly aiding the defense of his embattled older brother, former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, over harassment allegations that resulted in his resignation. CNN's longtime boss Zucker was slammed last month over the network's low ratings and dealings over scandals concerning the network's stars Cuomo and Don Lemon. Lemon, the host of the 10 p.m. show that followed Cuomo before he was fired, faced his own ethics scandal. The primetime anchor was criticized for covering Jussie Smollett's trial after the Empire actor testified in court that the host informed him via text message that the Chicago police did not believe he was the victim of a racist, homophobic attack. Lemon is also being sued by Hampton's bartender, who claims the anchor, who is gay, rubbed his own area and then shoved his fingers in his face in 2018. Ew. CNN's ratings decline followed the network's second most watched year ever, the Daily Beast reported. Despite having a record year, network viewership trended downward for the second half of 2021. Okay, so they're not doing too well. NBC also low ratings under Jeff Zucker. Yeah, and I don't know if you know this, but there was a huge merger. And who is the guy? The top CNN merger. Okay, so Warner Media Discovery just had a big merger. And the top shareholder in this merger actually was very critical. John Malone. He said, so John Malone, he's the top shareholder in this merger, which will own CNN. He said, I would like to see CNN evolve back to the kind of journalism that it started with and actually have journalists, which would be unique and refreshing. I do believe good journalism could have a role in the future portfolio that Discovery Time Warner is going to represent. So he's basically acknowledging that CNN is not doing journalism, and he would like to see them get back to that. And I think a lot of people agree. I will say I've seen 2 clips that I actually liked out of CNN. That Jake Tapper clip I just told you about, respected that. I respected him for pushing back on the voting bill. I liked Brian Stelter for pointing out that the CDC has been so back and forth. They are now a punchline. So those are actually 2 things that I liked out of CNN. That's 2 out of everything else ever. But that to me was maybe a little sign that they'll start being honest. But here's the thing. The Biden-Harris administration is so unpopular, they really don't have a choice. Even Stacey Abrams in Atlanta. So Biden was in Atlanta yesterday campaigning for this voting rights bill. Even Stacey Abrams did not want to be on a stage with Joe Biden because he is so deeply unpopular. She had a scheduling conflict. Who has a scheduling conflict with the president and the vice president of the United States? It is somebody. So Stacey Abrams wants to be the governor. So she lost before and she is running again. She wants to be the governor. That is why she does not want to be on stage and pictured with Joe Biden because they are so deeply unpopular. And that is why the Washington Post, was it the Washington Post? Yeah, I think it was the Washington Post that ran that original article about how Hillary was thinking about running again. Even they admitted that that both Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are so deeply unpopular. There's no way that Democrats want them to run again in 2024. That is why they are thinking about Hillary Clinton. So everyone knows this. It's not just right-wing people. It's people on the left that know how deeply unpopular Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are. Their entire administration is so unpopular. And I've heard, it's a rumor, I don't know if this is true, but I've heard some people say that everyone basically knows that Joe Biden is a one-term president. That's why they're trying to roll out all of these super radical things. They're just trying to get it all in while they can because they know he's a one-term president. And they know that these things are not popular with most Americans. But whatever. I don't know if that's true. Toxic. He's so toxic. So is Stacey. Oh yeah, Stacey. I'm not a fan of Stacey either. But even Stacey didn't. I mean, why else would you have a scheduling conflict? What was she doing? Joe for the win. Here, let's see what else is going on before I get off here. Oh. Let's go, Brandon.
So you show up at a school board meeting to say that your daughter has been sexually assaulted at the school and the school board's covering it up, and you get arrested and charged. You're the villain here. A George Soros-funded district attorney personally prosecuted Scott Smith after his arrest. It's almost beyond belief. Well, today the student who assaulted Scott Smith's daughter was sentenced. He has to register as a sex offender for the rest of his life. For a code on the story, Scott Smith joins us. Mr. Smith, thanks so much.
Do you guys remember the Loudoun County story? So the Loudoun County, this is where like the parents or terrorists came from. Yeah, this is Tucker. So there's an update to this Loudoun County story. We talked about it a lot on this channel. This is where there was an assault that was covered up by the school. So this picture, all right, I'll give you an update. So all of these school board meetings, the angry parents going to school board meetings, this whole meme of that basically originated out of Loudoun County, Virginia. And these were parents that were upset over, like COVID mandates, CRT, transgender policy, stuff like this. Well, there was one image that went viral of a father who was being arrested at a school board meeting. And the reason he went to that school board meeting is because his daughter was assaulted in a school and the school tried to cover up for it. His daughter was assaulted by a male who was wearing a dress who went into a female bathroom. And the school covered up for it. And he was going to the school board meeting. He wasn't a political person, but he went to the school board meeting to say, because they were talking about this issue of letting males that identify as females into the female bathroom. And he wanted to go there and say, hey, this happened to my daughter. Like, I just want to tell you my story. Please consider this when you're voting. And he ended up being silenced, and then he got upset and he was arrested. So this is the update with that story. The individual who assaulted his daughter has been sentenced and charged and now has to register as an offender. But what happened, and the school tried to cover this up, instead of the person being expelled from school, period, the person was transferred to another school and offended again to another girl. But here, I'll give you the update. Here, we can listen to this for just a second. It's only 2 minutes long. He was on Tucker.
So you show up at a school board meeting to say that your daughter has been sexually assaulted at the school and the school board's covering it up, and you get arrested and charged. You're the villain here. A George Soros-funded district attorney personally prosecuted Scott Smith after his arrest. It's almost beyond belief. Well, today the student who assaulted Scott Smith's daughter was sentenced. He has to register as a sex offender for the rest of his life. For a code on the story, Scott Smith joins us. Mr. Smith, thanks so much for coming on. It's one of the worst stories I think anybody watching has ever heard. How do you feel now that it's ended?
Good night, Tucker, and thanks for having me.
Of course.
And we're relieved. We're able to put one felony assault behind us and start a next one next week.
And by next week, tell us what you mean.
Well, unfortunately, our daughter was physically assaulted the first week of school when she returned this year. And that one was mishandled as well. 90 days later, we finally got charges, and that court case starts next week. It's a felony malicious wounding case.
What an unimaginable nightmare your family's been through. Tell us where you are with the charges that were brought against you by the prosecutor in Loudoun County.
Well, where I'm at is that I was found guilty on 2 misdemeanor charges, one resisting arrest, one disorderly conduct. She asked for 10 days in jail per charge, 8 suspended per charge, $2,500 fine. I was able to tell the judge that was ridiculous. He found me guilty.
He was talking about his charges, I think. Okay, so the individual in question, hold on, I have the story up right here. So this is what the father said in regards to this. This whole thing caused a huge division in our community. We were accused of lying about this assault for political gain. That didn't go over too well with half of Loudoun County, who didn't patronize our business. Okay, so apparently they got, because he spoke out about what happened to his Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Really? Oh, okay. So you can hear me. So when they came forward with what happened to his daughter, I think it caused a huge division, and people were accusing them of lying and making it up and all of that. So I think that's what he was talking about with the second attack that happened on his family. Oh, so someone said, Sarah, what do you think about California trying to get single payer? No, that is going to double taxes, mostly for people that make over $500,000. I don't think it's okay. The good news is, I believe that we do have to vote on it. So I know that people in charge voted to go ahead and okay this, but that will go on the ballot. I do not see the people of California voting this in, because that is going to double taxes for people that make over $500,000. I don't see that happening. And that's also going to give free healthcare to illegal immigrants. And the people in California, they might vote in Democratic politicians, but they're actually pretty. For instance, they voted against letting people under 18 to be able to vote. They voted against zero cash bail, even though some of our rogue DAs in certain cities voted to have those put that in action. So I do not see the people of California voting that in, especially now when we're facing inflation, when California has the highest taxes of anywhere. I just don't see it happening. If it does happen, F me. That's all I have to say. Gretchen Whitmer, I swear one more person calls me Caitlyn Jenner, I'm locking down Michigan for another 6 months. No, I don't like this single payer no, I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. And we should not be incentivizing anyone to come over the border illegally. We just shouldn't. And if you're here illegally, and I say this as someone, healthcare, they preach is a human right, but at the same time they preach to turn away unvaxxed. Exactly. They want to turn away unvaxxed. Okay. So are you going to turn away people that smoke cigarettes? Are you going to turn away people that are morbidly obese? How is that any different? I actually know how it's different. The latter are very different than it doesn't make any sense. Because they don't care about health. That's not what this is about. They are hypocrites, and it's not about health, you guys. If you haven't realized this already, it is not about health. They don't turn away, or people that come to this country illegally. They don't turn them away. Nope. They want the taxpayers to pay for them. That's what they don't understand. The more and more this homeless situation gets out of hand. Oh, and I don't know if I don't think I said this on this channel, but this goes in line with California. Beverly Hills City Council voted almost unanimously. I think they did vote unanimously. Beverly Hills City Council voted to join the effort to recall George Gascon, the rogue DA of Los Angeles. This is a big deal, in my opinion. And Beverly Hills is one of the areas that has been targeted by smash and grab robberies, by follow home robberies, by brazen, just in the middle of the daytime, random robberies. They voted unanimously to join the recall effort to get George Gascon out of there. And what's significant about that is some of the biggest donors of the George Gascon campaign lived in Beverly Hills. Yes, it is a Soros DA. And if you were just listening to Tucker, it appears as though the DA in Loudoun County was also a Soros DA. He is awful. And Beverly Hills is one of the areas that has been targeted by a lot of criminals because of all the money that's there. So good for them. But that's what I'm saying. The more and more people are seeing the homelessness in their area, the more and more Californians are seeing, all of these break-ins and crime increase in these areas, the less and less likely they are to vote for these super progressive things like the single payer healthcare system, which would basically give illegal immigrants free healthcare. So it's like, if you're American, give me all your money. If you're here illegally, you have a free ride. No, that's not cool. That's not cool at all. Anyway. The term illegals is wrong. Democrats, the base. Exactly. Gotta hand it to Sock Puppet Joe. All right, you all. I think that's everything for tonight. The country is a for real version of the dystopian future. It almost seems like that in some places. It really does. I mean, where I'm at right now is very nice and very lovely, but it does seem like that in some areas. All right, you all. Well, that's everything I have for you tonight. I hope you guys have a great night. See you later. Have a wonderful night, and maybe I'll see you tomorrow sometime. I'll let you know. Take care. Thank you all. Snow on Sunday. I heard we're supposed to get snow this weekend in Virginia. Okay, bye, you all. See ya.